Look, I've been in church or religion for over 15 years, and throughout that time, I've seen a lot of people come and go. So let's examine some of the reasons why. I mean, what better way to live than like royalty? Alright, welcome back everyone, and today we're going to talk about why people are leaving the church, but more importantly, why religion is to blame. And to do that, I've been talking and asking people this question, and then I've also just been taking notes from other things that I've come across to really come up with three main reasons why, and that's what I want to share today. But before I get into that, let me go ahead and debunk this right now, and that is the idea and the misconception that it's only young people who are leaving the church. That's just not true. It's not just young people. You have young, middle age, old, young adult, I don't know the different age groups, but it's everybody that is walking away. So I really want to examine that. And it's not just, it doesn't just stop there, right? There's also people who've been in this for a while who are leaving. Some of them are walking away. I mean, preachers, pastors, ministers, all of those different types of people who are in the ministry and a part of religion and have these roles, they're walking away too. So I really do think we have a church exodus on our hands that we need to examine and figure out why. So that's what this video is designed to do. I'm really going to talk about religiosity, I've been trying to say that word all day, in the church and how it's messing things up and causing people to walk away. I don't want you all to think that I'm here to bash the church. I'm not going to bash the church, but I will speak against religion. I'm going to talk about religion and talk about how that spirit is messing up the church and messing up the things that really God wants us to do and how he wants us to be able to interact and impact one another's lives. So with that, let me start with point number one. And this one is really simple. A lot of people can agree, especially if you go to a black church. But services are just too long. I mean, it is. They start late. They go over. There's multiple moments throughout the service where there's just unnecessary talking. And I shouldn't say unnecessary. It's just talking that isn't helpful to the service. And most of the time, they aren't really talking about anything that's interesting or applicable to what's been, discussed or whatever the theme or message or whatever it's going to be for the day. But you know how preachers are. So they going to find some way to connect it back to the Bible. Even if it makes no sense to us, they're going to do it to try and justify all of that talking. So again, churches, they just go too long. But don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that church needs to be entertaining, right? I'm not saying that church is a stage for entertainment or anything, but church should be enjoyable. People go there because they enjoy it. They enjoy the fellowship. They enjoy the worship experience. And all of that talking, making it last 6-7 hours. You starting at 10 and ending at 3. Sometimes that's unappealing and makes people not want to come back. But that brings me to point number 2, and that's this. I mean, church should be enjoyable, right? You should have a good worship experience. But it's hard to do that when you don't feel welcomed or don't like the environment you're a part of. And I've heard a couple people say this, that they just don't feel comfortable going to church because of the people who are there. And if you're going there for an enjoyable worship experience and fellowship experience with people who have common goals and interests and beliefs, then it should be easier to be a part of that environment. But not so. There's so much mess going on. There's so many people there who are just acting a fool that it makes other people not want to come back. And when I heard this type of stuff years ago, I would be a little skeptical, right? Because me, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and say that if you're going to a church, that's God's people. They should be welcoming. They should be loving and all of this. But the older I got, the more places I visited, and my mind opened up and I was becoming more aware of other things that were going on, I started to see the mess. And it was unfortunate. It's really disheartening and it breaks my heart because people are really looking for that. And another thing that came up, it's not a main point, but it's something that I want to point out, is people said that they miss church. They enjoy going to church and that they want to get back. But thinking about the environment that some churches create, it's just not conducive for growth. It's not conducive for people to come in and feel welcome. So it's hard for them to find a church home because they either left theirs when they were moving or stopped going for whatever reason, or it was somebody in the family that was taking them and that person was no longer around. So they want to get reconnected and they just can't. And that breaks my heart because they're going from church to church trying to figure out, okay, where can I start? Where can I stay and continue to grow and build my relationship with God and build my relationship with other people. And with all of the mess that's going on, it's hard to do any of that. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all see the videos out there. There's more funny church videos and ridiculous church videos of preachers doing crazy things, singers doing crazy things, whoever. All of these people who are in the church and have these positions or responsibilities are acting a fool. And that's a shame. Because, again, where is God? Where is the image and the likeness of God? Where are the traits and the attributes of Jesus, right? How can you say that you love me, but then you act in this way towards your brother? Like, it's so many things that people do in the house of God that just makes it questionable whether or not they're actually saved and believe what they're a part of. They really do. And if they do, it's hard to see because it's layered under all of that mess. Because I will know you by your fruits, and the fruits that you are bearing are fruits of bitterness, envy, hatred, and just it's just the ugly personality. And you can see what's on the person's inside by what they display on the outside. I talked about that in the previous video. And that's what a lot of church people are showing. And it's unfortunate because it's unattractive. It takes the focus off of God. And it takes away from the main reason that people are there. To grow in their relationship, to have a good worship experience, to come together. And it's taken away from the teaching and the learning that should be happening. It's taken away from the true importance of the service. And that's not going to make anybody want to come back. That's not going to make anybody want to join or stay. Your first impression is your best impression most of the time. And they go into these churches and they long and people acting a fool and they don't feel welcomed or feel the warmth or love when they walk through the door. They're not going to want to come back. So I'm not surprised that people are leaving or saying that this is one of the main reasons why. But the biggest reason, and this is the last reason that I want to share, but I believe it's the biggest one, because again, if we talk about the purpose of church, if we talk about what church is for and what it's meant to do for the people who are part of it and there, the church just isn't doing it. The church isn't impacting people's lives. It's not teaching new information. It's not giving relevant information. It's not helping them learn how to live better. It's not helping them learn how to grow closer with God. And like I said in the previous video, if you're in a place where this is the case, where you feel like you're giving and putting in more, I'm not just talking about money, but time, energy, effort, all of those things. You're putting in more than what you're gaining and getting out of it in terms of teaching and understanding and revelation and relationships, then you need to leave. You need to just find somewhere else. And you need to do it ASAP. But that's crazy to me, because that's the whole purpose of the church. That's what Paul talked about in Ephesians. He said that God gave apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, preachers, or teachers, all for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry. Yet, that's the least amount of stuff that's happening. Nobody's being perfected. The work of the ministry isn't happening. So what are we doing here? I know what we're doing. Instead, we get performances, right? We get showcases. We get people who want to show us their talents and what they can do. We get people who want to be the center of attention. We get people who think that the people are coming to church for them, that they're the reason that they're there. And it's just like, where is God? Why is he not the focus? Why is he not the center? So people are treating it like a showcase and trying to entertain people. And it's like, church is not meant for entertainment. Come on, man. Like, you know what the purpose of this is. Why would you rob God of that? Why would you rob the people of that? You can't say you truly a servant and you acting more selfish and more self-centered than you are willing to give the people what they need and what they're coming for, especially during a time like this. Again, they get in this state of where they're trying to entertain people versus really impact their lives through revelation and knowledge and worship experience, through prayer, through all of those things that's supposed to be happening in all of these religious sectors. I'm not just talking about the black church and the church that I'm a part of. I'm talking about all religions. And it's sad because none of these reasons have anything to do with God. I understand if they learned and understood and was just like, I don't believe that, so I'm leaving. No, that's not the case. People want to be there. People are yearning to be a part of these services and to be in these environments, yet they don't want to be there if they don't feel welcome, if it's not making a difference. And we should be coming together and having a good worship experience with our brothers and our sisters who are all like-minded and have common interests and all want to grow closer to God and worship God and be thankful and praise Him all together, yet we aren't able to do that. Yet that doesn't seem to be the focus and what the main point of the gatherings are for, which is causing the church again to be a revolving door of people coming in and leaving right back out when they see what it's all about. And the pandemic really shed a light on this, considering everything we're going through in the world with all of the wars and all of this stuff that's happening in society with the plagues, as I like to call them, with monkeypox and COVID and all this other stuff that's popping back up. Polio is back on the rise. Like, the pandemic shed a light on how pointless and powerless the church was. That's why when it was time for society to open back up, a lot of churches didn't open. Or if they did, they opened up and they were empty because nobody came back. Because it was like, when that pandemic hit, that was the prime time for people to practice what they had heard, to practice their faith, to be closer and build their relationship and live on their relationship with God. Yet that wasn't happening. So people saw that as a wake-up call, like, man, I've been going to church for all these years and I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't know how to live through something like this. What was I going for anyway? So they left. And it's sad and it breaks my heart, but it's the truth. And we need to keep telling the truth and getting the truth out there so the people who are in positions can change these things and do better. I mean, we just need to do better. But again, I'm not trying to bash the church. I'm really just trying to point out how religion and this is a detriment to society. It's a detriment for what God intended the church to be and how the church was supposed to function. And if we don't get away from that, we just gonna keep going downhill. All throughout history, churches were able to step in and help. Now, it's a back and forth with how corrupt the church was, but what God instituted is good. The people and how they want to manipulate it and change it, that's what we need to clear out. That's what we need to change and get rid of. But until we do that, it's going to be a revolving door and nobody is going to show up. So I hope what I said in this video was helpful. If you know any other reasons why people are leaving the church, drop it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed it, like it. And like I said, if you don't hear anything else or ever watch another video, just remember this. The purpose of life is to live. And what better way to live than like royalty, right? Until next time.